Hi, here we have a SAT math question. Okay, let's go over the question. Call center A handles 20% fewer calls than call center B. Call center B handles 20% fewer calls than call center C. If call center A handles 1,200 calls, how many calls does call center C handle? So I have to find the number of calls handled by call center C. Okay, I assume that call center C handles X number of calls. Okay, so if call center C handles X number of calls, how many calls will be handled by B? So the question says the call center B handles 20% fewer calls than call center C. So 20% fewer, that is 100 negative 20 percentage of the number of calls handled by call center C, which is X. Because we have assumed that the call center C handles X number of calls. So we have to find the value of X because that is the target of the question. Since the question says B handles 20% fewer calls than call center B, I subtracted 20 from 100 percentage of the number of calls handled by call center C, that is X. Okay, let's simplify this. 100 negative 20 will be 80 percentage of X. So if I convert this 80 percentage to decimal, it will be 80 over 100. So the 0 will cancel. I get 8 over 10. When I divide 8 by 10, it will be 0.8. So 0.8. And whenever we have OF of in math, it can be converted to multiplication. So 0.8 times X. So the number of calls handled by call center B is 0.8x. Okay, now let's go to A. The number of calls handled by call center A. So the question says call center A handles 20% fewer calls than call center B. So 20% fewer. So we have to subtract 20 from 100 percentage of the number of calls handled by call center B, because call center A handles 20% fewer calls than call center B. So I subtracted 20 from 100. So it says 20% fewer calls than call center, means here we have to write the number of calls handled by call center B. That we have already got it, that is 0.8x. Okay, so here 100 minus 20 is going to be 80. So 80 percentage, the decimal form will be 0.8, and OF of means it's times 0.8x. When I multiply this 0.8, it will be 0.64. It's a calculator section. If you want, you can use calculator. So now I got the number of calls handled by call center A, that is 0.64x. But the question says call center A handles 1,200 calls. So the 0.64x must be equal to 1,200. Because according to our calculation, the number of calls handled by call center A is 0.64x. According to the question, the number of calls handled by call center A is 1,200. So 0.64x and 1,200, both of them represent the same stuff. That is calls handled by number of calls handled by call center A. So we can equate them. Okay, we have to solve for x. So for that, I have to divide both sides by 0.64. When I divide both sides by 0.64, 0.64 will cancel out. So already I've told you it's a calculator section, so we can use calculator to find the value of this fraction. When I divide 1,200 by 0.64, I'll be getting 1,875. So I get x equals to 1,875. We have assumed x as number of calls handled by call center C. So the number of calls handled by call center C is 1,875.